Hello everyone, today we compare the cultural differences about life values and ideas between the Netherlands and China. In this video, we will discuss our experience with the Chinese students by adding the theory we learned during the course. We did this by conducting interviews among students from Yang University. So, let's start. After a few weeks of chatting with the Chinese students through WeChat, we thought once we started the interview, no introductions were necessary. However, we witnessed the opposite. They felt the need to introduce each other yet again. Finally, after 20 minutes of introductions from each participant, we could ask our questions. This experience can be linked to the trusting scale of Ehrenmeyer. People from China are more relationship-based, which means that before they start with the objective, they first want to know more about their partners, whereas the Dutch people are more task-based. They immediately start with the objective and don't put much effort to getting to know one another. Sometimes they don't even know their partners' names.
This experience can be linked to the high-low communication style by Edward Hall. Chinese students talk without explicit communication known as high context. We had to read between the lines, meaning that they would give you half an answer and expect you to know what they meant. For us Dutch people, we prefer low context communication. It was sometimes difficult to understand what they said. This is because we communicate directly and explicitly to prevent misunderstandings. Another thing that came to mind when conducting the interview was how quiet and polite our Chinese counterparts were. They would rarely initiate the discussion and waited for us to start the conversation. This relates to the reactive part of the Lewis model. Reactive countries are known to be good listeners, listen to others first, then establish their own position. Between the questions and the answers, they pause for a couple seconds, which for them is a common thing. Next experience during the interview was that the Chinese students answered our questions by talking about what their friends or family members would think.
This is a good example of collectivism versus individualism dimension of Hofstede. You could see the Chinese students score high in collectivism because family is the foundation of Chinese culture. On the other hand, the Dutch are individualistic and think about themselves. Then they would take their family and friends' thoughts into account. We also asked the Chinese students what their dreams were. Most of them want to have a stable job and get married by the age of 30. One girl wanted to become a geography teacher and another TV show host, but her parents did not allow this dream. Dreams that are not feasible are not encouraged by parents. We also learned relationships are prohibited in high school but encouraged after they graduate. If they don't find someone soon, they are seen as laggards. When we asked them why they didn't talk to their parents and follow their dreams or get in a relationship whenever they wanted, they told us they don't want to disagree with their parents and rather avoid confrontation. This can be linked to the disagreeing scale of Ehrenmeyer. The Chinese scored high on the avoids confrontation scale. In Dutch culture, we are encouraged to confront each other when we disagree with one another. Lastly, we were interested in what the Chinese students did besides their studies. Most of them spent free time by playing video games with their friends, watching movies, and all of them explicitly mentioned that they love to eat. In addition, some of them also worked in the food restaurant. When we asked them about their friends, they told us that their current friends were colleagues and classmates. In Chinese culture, harmony is an important value, so they are encouraged to spend a lot of time with each other to strengthen the relationship, which will lead to higher achievements. We can relate this to the specific versus diffuse dimension of entrepreneurs. Chinese culture is on the diffuse side of the scale because there is an overlap between work life and personal life. Good relationships are vital to achieve business or school objectives, whether they are at school or meet socially. We keep work and personal lives separate. As a result, we believe that relationships don't have much of an impact on work or school objectives. Even though we value relationships, we can work together without having a personal one. Overall, there are a lot of cultural differences between China and the Netherlands, not only between values and beliefs, but also in communication and behavior. However, this does not mean that it is impossible to work with each other. Julia Middleton explained during her TED Talk that cultural intelligence doesn't mean that you understand another people's culture. It means you understand your own, when it helps you and when it hinders you, when it causes other people's problems and when you miss opportunities. This is something you should think about. Thank you.